That 6-pack of tomato seedlings you're about to grab off the August clearance rack? It's already dead. It just doesn't know it yet. And here's the part that should make you angry. The store selling it to you knows it too. I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm saying it because right now, all over the place, garden centers and big box stores are wheeling out fresh racks of warm season seedlings, tomatoes, peppers, squash, and stacking them by the register like it's still May. Most of the people buying them will never harvest a single thing. Not because they did anything wrong. Nobody told them. Nobody explained the one piece of math that separates the growers who actually know their seasons from the ones who lose an entire bed and $40 to a plant that never had a chance. So today, I'm going to hand you that math. It takes about 90 seconds to learn, and once you have it, you'll never get fooled by an August seedling rack again. We're going through 9 vegetables that are a straight-up trap this month. And for each one, I'll show you the specific way it dies, when you should actually plant it, and the fast, cool season crop you can drop in that same spot today instead. 2 of these you need to hear before you touch a trowel. Number 3 is the single biggest waste of garden space on this entire list. It'll eat your whole bed and give you nothing. And number 8? Number 8 sprouts in 3 days, grows into the most gorgeous, lush plant you've ever seen, and that is exactly why it fools people. Stay with me, and I'll show you why the pretty one is the cruelest one. Let's get into it. The one piece of math, learn this once. Here's the whole game. Every crop has a number called days to maturity, how long from planting until it actually feeds you. And your climate has a hard deadline called your first frost date, the night the cold comes and kills anything warm season, no negotiation. For most temperate gardens, a big chunk of the US, and a lot of Europe too, that first frost tends to land somewhere around the middle of October. So use mid-October as your finish line. Yours might be a week or 2 either side, and that matters. But the shape of the math is the same wherever you are. Count the days from today. If it's the 1st of August, you've got roughly 75 days before the whistle blows. That's it. That's your entire runway. So the test is simple. Take the days to maturity on the seed packet and see if it fits inside that window, with room to spare, because a plant limping across the line in the last cold week of October isn't giving you a harvest. It's giving you a funeral. Hold that mid-October finish line in your head, because I'm going to use it for all 9 of these. Watch how many of them lose the race before they even sprout. Number 1, tomatoes. Everybody's first love, and I get it. You see that leggy little seedling and your brain fills in the picture of a warm red tomato in your hand. The store is counting on exactly that daydream. But here's the mechanism that kills an August tomato, and it's not just the calendar. Even a fast slicer needs 60 to 85 days from transplant to ripe fruit. Plant in early August, and your very best case is ripe fruit right at that mid-October frost. No margin. And that assumes the plant even sets fruit, which it won't, because tomatoes stop setting when nighttime temperatures start sliding below the mid-50s Fahrenheit. That's around 13 Celsius. The flowers just drop. So as your nights cool through September, the plant quietly stops making the thing you planted it for. You end up with a big green bush, a handful of marbles, and the first frost turns the whole lot to mush overnight. Unless you're somewhere with a long, warm fall, think the deep south, southern Spain, a heated greenhouse, an August tomato is a trap. When to actually plant? Spring. Once nights hold above the mid-50s. Plant instead today a row of spinach or leaf lettuce. Both love the cooling weather, and you'll be eating in 5 to 6 weeks. Number 2, sweet corn. This one surprises people because corn feels fast. It shoots up, it's tall by July, so surely you can sneak a late block in. No. And the reason is the most beautiful failure on this whole list. Corn doesn't fail on days to maturity alone, though at 60 to 100 days depending on variety, plenty of it won't finish. It fails at pollination. Corn is wind-pollinated. The tassels up top have to shed their pollen down onto the silks at exactly the right moment, and every silk that doesn't get dusted is a blank kernel. That timing window is tight, and it falls apart in cooling fall air and shortening days. So even if your August corn survives to tasseling, you pull back the husk in October and find a cob that's half empty, a few scattered kernels on a bare cob. All that height, all that space for a mouthful. When to actually plant, late spring into early summer, in warm soil. Plant instead today bush peas for a fall crop, or a thick sowing of radishes, 25 days start to finish. Number 3, winter squash and butternut. Remember the one I warned you about at the top, the single biggest waste of garden space? Here it is. Winter squash is the honest, brutal version of the finish line math. No tricks, no biology footnote. Butternut and most storage squash need 90 to 120 days to mature. Do the subtraction from mid-October. If you plant on August 1st, 110-day squash finishes in late November, 6 weeks after your beds are dead and frozen. It cannot be done. It is mathematically over before the seed swells. And here's why it's the biggest waste specifically. A single squash vine sprawls 6, 8, 10 feet in every direction. So you don't just lose the squash, you surrender the most valuable real estate in your whole garden to a plant that had zero chance, when that same ground could have grown 3 successive cuttings of greens. That's the theft. They sell you the seed in August knowing full well the calendar already said no. When to actually plant late spring, so it ripens in early fall. Plant instead today, kale or Swiss chard. Both get sweeter after a light frost and hold in the garden for months. Number 4, cucumbers. This one's a trap dressed up as a sure thing. Watch how fast it happens. Cucumbers are quick, 50 to 70 days. On paper, they fit. That's the bait. The packet math tempts you right in. But 2 things are waiting for it. First, most standard varieties still need pollinators to set fruit. And as the season turns, bee activity falls off a cliff. A cucumber flower nobody visits never becomes a cucumber. You get blossoms. You get nothing. Yes, the newer self-pollinating types dodge that one, but they don't dodge the second problem, and the second problem is fatal. Cucumber fruit is frost soft. One light frost and it turns to slime on the vine. Waterlogged. Useless. Fast doesn't save you when the bees have gone home and the cold is coming. Skip it unless you've got a heated tunnel. Plant instead today arugula or mustard greens, peppery, fast, and totally unbothered by cool nights. Number 5, melon and watermelon. We're right at the midpoint. And before I give you this one, a heads up, because there's a crop still coming that I'm not going to tell you a flat no on. Exactly one of these 9 is a real maybe if you play it right, and it's the one I promised would fool you with how pretty it is. Keep it in the back of your mind. It's coming. Now, the most stubborn crop on the list. Watermelon isn't beaten by a single frost or a pollination hiccup. It's beaten by a running total. Melons ripen on accumulated heat, the sum of all the warm hours over the whole season, what growers call heat units. It's not enough for a day to be warm. The plant needs a long, unbroken bank of heat to pull sugar into the fruit and actually make it sweet. At 70 to 100 days to maturity and needing genuine heat the entire way, an August melon is trying to fill a bank account that fall is emptying by the day. Best case, you get a pale, hard, flavorless ball that never sweetened because the heat units it needed simply weren't there anymore. The number on the packet lied by leaving out the temperature it required. A long blazing fall, the desert Southwest, Southern Europe, maybe. Everyone else, it's a no. Plant instead today turnips, roots and greens, and ready in well under 2 months. Number 6, peppers. Here's the part nobody tells you about peppers in fall. It's not really about days, it's about light. Peppers take 60 to 90 days just to reach a green fruit, and if you want them to ripen to red or yellow, where all the sweetness and value is, add 2 to 4 more weeks on top. But the deeper problem is that peppers are solar-powered divas. As August rolls into September and October, your daylight hours are shrinking fast, and the sun's sitting lower and weaker in the sky. That declining light starves the plant of the energy it needs to size up and ripen fruit, so the plant just stalls. It sits there, green and hopeful, while the days get shorter and the engine runs out of fuel. Then the frost finishes the job. Warm regions and greenhouses accepted. When to actually plant? Spring, well after your last frost. Plant instead today, a dense sowing of lettuce or bok choy. They actually prefer the softer fall light. Number 7, eggplant, quick gut check question. What's more fragile than a tomato and needs even more heat? This one. Eggplant runs 70 to 85 days from transplant, and every one of those days needs to be genuinely warm. It's one of the most heat-hungry things you can grow. But the real killer is the fruit itself. Eggplant is exquisitely frost tender. Even a light, patchy frost, the kind that barely nips your grass, will pit and rot the fruit right on the plant. So picture the cruelty of it. You nurse it through September, a few glossy fruits finally start to swell, and the first cold night of October sinks in soft brown bruises overnight. It rots on the stem before you ever get to pick it. All that waiting, and the frost eats it first. When to actually plant? Late spring into summer heat. Plant instead today, cilantro or more chard. Both shrug off the cold that destroys eggplant. Number 8, bush beans. Here it is, the one I promised you, twice now, the pretty one. Bush beans are the fastest thing on this list, 50 to 55 days, and they germinate almost overnight. Drop them in warm August soil, and in 3 days you've got a bed of thick, lush, healthy seedlings. It looks like a triumph. It feels like you beat the system. And that gorgeous head start is exactly the bait, because it convinces you this one's going to make it. But watch what happens. Bush beans flower to set their pods, and the flowers are cold sensitive. As your nights drop, blossoms stop setting and just fall off, and the plant itself and any young pods on it are frost tender. One real frost flattens the whole bed. So the fastest, healthiest, most encouraging plant in your whole garden marches you all the way to the goal line and then dies with nothing to show. A beautiful green bed and an empty colander. The prettiest plant is the one that breaks your heart, because it fooled you into believing right up until the end. Now, I'll be straight with you, because this is the real maybe I flagged earlier. If you're somewhere mild, a warmer US zone, much of the UK or lowland Europe, a fast bush bean sown in the first days of August can sometimes squeak a small crop in before frost. It's the one genuine gamble on this list, but it is a gamble against the calendar, and the store selling it to you isn't telling you that. Otherwise, plant instead today. Fall peas. Same fast satisfaction, built for the cool. Number 9, okra. Let's finish with the one that quietly gives up. Okra's days to maturity look friendly, 50 to 65 days, so like the cucumber, it tempts you in on paper. But okra doesn't care about your calendar. It cares about heat, and it's ruthless about it. Okra is a true tropical crop. It cranks out pods when days are up in the high 80s, low 90s Fahrenheit, the low 30s Celsius, and it slams the brakes the moment things cool off. Drop below about 75 and it slows to a crawl. Below 60, it essentially shuts down and just stands there. So even though the packet says 60 days, your cooling September strips the heat units right out from under it, and the plant stops producing long before it's technically mature. It doesn't dramatically die. It just quietly quits on you, standing green and idle while you wait for pods that never come. When to actually plant? Early summer, into the hottest stretch you've got. Plant instead today spinach or kale, which do their best work in exactly the cold okra hates. The turn? What you should be planting right now. So that's the trap laid bare. 9 warm season crops. The stores are happy to sell you in August, and 9 different ways the calendar, the cold, the light, or the heat takes them from you before you ever eat. But I don't want to leave you standing in an empty garden, because here's the genuinely good news. August is one of the best planting windows of the entire year. You're just planting the other half of the seed rack. Spinach, lettuce, arugula, kale, chard, radishes, turnips, bok choy, mustard greens, fall peas, cilantro. Every one of those is racing with the calendar instead of against it. And here's the secret the fall growers know that the tomato buyers don't. A light frost doesn't kill those crops. It makes them sweeter. The cold converts their starches to sugar. You're not settling for a backup plan. You're planting the crops that are actually at their best right now. The growers who know their seasons aren't sad in August. They're planting the smart half of the garden while everyone else is buying doomed tomatoes. So before you go, I've got to know, what's the biggest mistake you've ever made planting something? We've all got one. The tomato that never gave a single fruit, the whole bed planted at the wrong time, the plant you babied for months for nothing. Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading every one.